Guys, welcome back to the Relax Running Podcast. Tyson here. I can't believe we're in the second week of November. It always blows my mind when we get to this part of the year. Relax Running has just about crossed its 5-year anniversary, its 5-year birthday. Not of the podcast, but just of the launching the website. But 5 years, it's crazy. There's so much that's been done. Nearly, I think, this might even be 250 or episode 251 of the podcast. And honestly, the podcast is one of my favorite parts of what I do. I mean, the admin side of things is one that I think most of us can agree is not our favorite. Every now and then, though, you stumble on something you do that you absolutely love. The podcast is one of those things. I've always loved just hearing training philosophies, training ideas from athletes, coaches, those in and around the sport. And I feel like it's really enriched not only my own understanding of how I run and perform, but how I coach the athletes that I work with. So it's been a huge fun project. Thanks so much for being a part of it so far. I'm hoping we've got many more years to come. As I reflected on the fact that we're getting towards the end of the year, I was just writing down a couple of keywords that I think I've taken away from the year when it comes to running performance. And there were a few. There was consistency, there was health, and there were patience. And I think these are the three things that have come up maybe more than any other theme throughout the conversations I've had on the podcast. And maybe no coincidence has been a big focus point for my own running and the way that I approach training, but not just for myself, but also for the athletes that I work with. So what I wanted to do today, I wanted to take three little snippets from three podcasts of the 50 or so podcasts that I've recorded for this year and just talk about why it is that they've struck such a chord with me. These were 3 episodes which I'll link in the description to this episode. So if you want to see the full episode that these podcasts, that these snippets came from, make sure you check out the description for this episode to find out more. But for now, let's just get it started. I wanted to jump across to the Mark Allen podcast, which is one of the most popular podcasts we ever recorded here, or I've ever recorded here at Relax Running. This was a little bite-sized chunk that I thought a lot about after the podcast.
One of the things I saw is that a lot of the people who had really been at the top of their sport, they either went too long or they just pushed it too hard somewhere, and they paid a price and they were forced out of the sport. Like the performance dropped, they got injured, they slid and then they fell off the cliff kind of thing. And I thought, I don't know how long I'll race. This was maybe just a few years into my career. I don't know how long I'll race, but when I walk away, I want to walk away uninjured, not burned out, and healthy.
What I love so much about this is it struck a chord with me. I noticed this in my own junior days of running. I notice it so often with every new athlete that comes to me for coaching. It's often a mindset of, hey, how much can I get away with? How much can I get away with? How far can I push the envelope to see improvement before my body breaks? And I think I love him speaking about this for a number of reasons. First of all, his resume speaks for itself. You don't become 6-time Ironman world champion if you're doing rubbish training. And second of all, sure, it might be coming a little more mainstream, and people often message me going, Tice, like, why are you still talking about zone 2 training or easier style training? We've known about this forever. But it's very true that there's a big difference between knowing something and applying it consistently. I think that the knowing of this is very helpful, but if we can take a step in the direction of Mark Allen and apply it to our own running, the consistency and longevity that we get out of our running career is going to be not only so much better, but so much more enjoyable. I think the idea of constantly trying to burn that candle from both ends makes us feel mentally like we're doing everything that we can, so we deserve to see these breakthroughs. But practically, we're actually shooting ourselves in the foot. So it's a classic example of this tortoise and the hare. As much as we, as often perfectionists and people who are putting a lot of time and effort, want to see the results that we've written down on a piece of paper or the goals that we've set, often our approach is the thing which is hampering us. So my question to you, as you sort of come to the end of your year as well, is where would you put yourself on the spectrum of having a focus on consistency versus having a focus on quick results? Because very often they're at two opposite ends of the spectrum. I used to have a pastor at my church, or my old church, that would speak about that which goes hot easily goes cold easily, whether it's like a one-hit wonder, whether it was an awesome preacher, whether it's an amazing runner or one-off performance. It doesn't matter what industry you're referring to. It seems to apply to all of them. That which goes hot easily goes cold easily. Think about running as, especially peak performance running. I mean, there's so many people at all different ages with the intention of improving their running performance, but we've got to acknowledge the fact that our peak performance phase is not going to be around forever. There's going to be 10 or 15 years where we'll get the absolute maximum out of ourselves, depending on how old you are, depending on where you're at in your own journey is going to dictate that age. Obviously, it's not one size fits all, but I think we get so caught up in trying to see just hot results for that time period that we forget about the fact it's a sport that we can love and do well for many, many years. Right now, I'm currently nowhere near as fast as what I was 10 years ago, especially on the track. But I'm loving it maybe more than I ever have. I'm loving the training. I'm loving the approach. I'm loving learning. So take it from me. You don't have to be running the fastest you've ever run to love it. Stop focusing so much on quick results and start paying a little bit more attention to how it is that you can actually encourage your body to go in the sport for the long haul. And also, as you go, start to rack up that momentum, the snowball effect, and perhaps even start running faster than what you might currently think is possible. So that was a big takeaway for me. The second one that I've got here is one of the 2 episodes with Phill Maffetone. As I said, I'll link this in the description for you guys to check out if you're interested in the episode. I love Phill for a number of reasons. First of all, he's got a heart as big as Texas, I think is the expression. I'm not sure if you're in America and that's not an expression. I apologize. I just made it up. He's got a massive heart, but he's also a unique combination of incredibly knowledgeable, and he's incredibly creative. He combines that science with creativity. And as a result, and with focus on these 2 things, he's got like a real presence about him when you speak to him. He's very calm, he's very clear, he's very kind on and off the camera, which I love. And this is a clip from him that I wanted to share with you. I'll tell you a little bit more about it and why I loved it in just a sec.
This is something that, the difference between health and fitness is something I've talked about essentially my whole career. And I wrote a paper on this several years ago with Professor Paul Larson. We defined health and fitness differently, which hadn't been done. I was surprised. And it's something that people need to think about in their training. Is this contributing to my health? And if it's not, it's probably taking away from your health.
I think this ties on beautifully from the first point. Are you healthy or are you just fit? The difference is healthy and fit. They're in a lot of people's minds, they're one and the same. To be honest, it took me a couple of minutes when I first heard about this idea to really try and navigate what it was, because I always thought if you're fit, surely you're healthy. But the truth is, and to tie in beautifully from that first point, you can be very fit and very unhealthy. Elite athletes will tell you this is a fact. Now, what am I talking about when I'm talking about fitness versus health? Well, you can go out and you can run fast times, you can be fit, you can be ready to go. Comes race day, you can absolutely blow it out of the park. But you might be able to do that for a couple of months before your body starts to say, hey, we can't continue at this pace. That could be a combination of training, it could be a combination of nutrition, it could be a combination of so many factors. And so I would encourage, and I do encourage athletes that I'm working with, not just to focus on fitness and getting quick results and absolutely burning the candle at both ends with the intention of just getting better performances out quicker, but to look at running as a part of your health journey, as a part of helping you towards a longer, healthier life. If you do running, at a daily basis, this can be one of the biggest, most effective ways to increase or improve your metabolic health. But it can also, if you're pushing it too hard, too often, be something which exhausts you, which absolutely takes away your joy, zaps your joy, and is not really assisting you towards longevity, if that makes sense. So I put down a couple of key factors. I mean, you can go on all day about the things that you should be focusing on, but I often find it easy to focus on a couple of things at a time, make sure I'm ticking those off, making them a habit before I move on. For me, I wrote down sleep, stress, recovery, nutrition, and social life. I mean, they all speak for themselves. You can be fit and not sleepy. You can be fit, but you can be stressed. You can be fit, but not recovery. You can fit, but not having a good diet. And you can be fit and have absolutely no social life. So I'd encourage you, what do those things look like for you? Obviously, there is no one size fits all when it comes to these things. So me trying to give you any practical guide on how many hours sleep or what diet you need or whatever else it might be, silly. Take some time to really look at yourself. Look at what you respond to. Look at how you feel after you take a certain approach to recovery or nutrition. Often you're your best teacher. There's so much great research out to support every side of nearly every argument. Obviously, there's many exceptions to that, but I think the best research is that which you can do on yourself. So start there, pay attention, tune in, and you'll be amazed at some of the observations you can make about what it is that you respond to. The final clip that I wanted to show you today is one with Zach Bitter. He's talking about the difference between, he's talking about, not the difference between, he's just talking about adaptations and being patient as they take place. So check this out.
So I'm always looking at it as, the way I look at it is intensity and heart rate are fixed. Like those intensities are going to be established during your training cycle. And what you want to see move in the positive direction is your pace. So if I'm working on short intervals, I'm going to be looking for that intensity to stay the same throughout that build, but I'm going to be looking for that pace to drop. So at the start of that sort of training cycle, my short interval pace might be like 4:55 to 5 minute per mile pace or something like that. The hope is once I start getting into kind of like the range where you should see some adaptations, like 4 to 6 weeks or so, I should see that pace starting to kind of come down at that same effort. So the workouts feel the same, but my pace is faster. That's kind of the rule that like kind of overreaching rule I'm trying to follow along the way.
I think what I love so much about this is it's just like the cherry on top of what it is that we're speaking about. Adaptation takes time to take place. You do not have to rush it. In fact, if you rush it, often the adaptation you're not going to see because your body's not going to be able to hold up. So where are you at in your training phase? I think just clarifying what your big goal is, where you're at in the build-up, and what it is that you should be doing at this time of the year is very helpful. If you can have a little bit of a scaffold in place, I find it easy to justify taking some downtime. Recently, I've been I've given myself like a 1 month period or a 3 week period, which is pretty much off season. If I want to run, I can run. If I don't want to run, I don't have to run. The reason for that is I've got 9 months until the marathon that I'm targeting. I think it's beneficial to take some time mentally, physically away from the sport, whether that's cross training, completely off, different horses, different courses. But what I love about clarifying where I'm at in my phase or in my build up is there's no guilt that comes with time off. If you don't know where it is in your build up that you are, you don't know whether you should be doing long runs, hard runs, short runs, fast runs, rest days, easy days. So clarify what is that you're doing. And then within that, set certain boundaries as to where you would like to be at certain times. It might take 6 to 8 weeks to build your fitness up to a maximum level to get ready for race day. Maybe it's going to take you much longer than that. That's fine. Knowing where it is that you're trying to get fit for is going to help you in that build-up, help you mentally, physically, be patient. So, guys, that was just a short one today. I just wanted to give you a couple of little bite-sized bits of information that have been rattling around inside my mind, which I've found incredibly helpful. As always, if you're looking to start the new year with a bit of a bang, I do have a couple of spaces available for personal coaching at a variety of levels. So make sure you jump on board. Go over to relaxrunning.com. Check out the new design of the website. Let me know what you think. It's still a work in progress, but we're getting there. Hit the coaching page. If you want to organize just a free 20 to 30 minute conversation with me on Zoom, we can do that. Suss out where you are, what you need help with, what you're aiming towards, what your training setup looks like, how it is that I might be able to help you. So let's do that. Jump across, book in that session, get in touch with me, and we'll get your new year started with a little bit of clarity. For now, guys, happy training. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you here again next week.